One, two, three. We're gonna welcome everybody to Mom and Dad Talks. Where our favorite two people are Mom and Dad, and we have Hantie. Hey, Hantie, how you doing?
Doing good.
So, we lost a lot of things this week, but the main thing we're gonna talk about tonight is the late great Quincy Jones.
Yes.
The icon. I mean, when you look at his accomplishments, I mean, wow. And you guys literally grew up with Quincy Jones being in your lives. He died like at 91. I mean,
Yeah.
can you explain to our audience? I mean, because I mean, literally, you literally grew up with him growing up into the business at very. What was it like having Quincy Jones, and what impact did he have in your lives? Who wants to start first?
Well, one thing I always remember is his song "We Are the World,"
Mm-hmm.
and that was so popular, and it showed unity
Mm-hmm.
that we had in the United States of all races.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that how do you say it? It's not as popular now to have this unity. There's so much non-unity going on uh, and hatred.
And it was a selfless act. They didn't get any money from it. It's like we're doing this.
Yes,
All the proceeds directly go to feeding hungry people in Africa.
yes, and that was so remarkable that it was not for profit.
Yeah.
It was just for humanity.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think that was the one thing in the 60s and 70s was the coming together of the races.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's no more. It's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Drastic.
Hand to your mom.
I think the amazing thing for me was that they came together for a man just like them. He wasn't a preacher. He wasn't necessarily a teacher. He did have a talent, an amazing talent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what brought them together because that's what they shared. And now if maybe he preached a sermon before he got them all together, I don't know. But that wasn't the underlying factor in them coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And even I was much younger then, of course, but I still marvel at a man just like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many degrees he had. That didn't matter. They weren't coming together for that. I don't know how funny he was. He looked probably like a no-nonsense person to me, to get that far. And for them to all come together. I mean, the greats, Dionne Warwick. I mean, just amazing people to come together and to make a sound that was so universal. Everybody understood it. We are the world. And we represent. We're representing good. And that was amazing to me then, and it is still amazing to me now.
Mom, your thoughts on Quincy Jones, the late great Quincy Jones?
Well, I just thought that with him being a musician, that he was one of the greatest icons that we could ever have, and that we will never forget. And as Del said, the impact of the song "We Are the World," I loved it, and it meant so much to us as black race to know that a man of his magnitude would write such a powerful song.
When you think about it, he was born in Chicago, Illinois, who was a Midwestern. And he talks about his grandmother being a former slave, and how they had to live. And if you look at the documentary, he talks about it. I don't want to go too much into it, but just some of the things that he's got. This dude had 28 Grammy Awards, a Primetime Emmy Award, a Tony Award, an Academy Award for Golden Globe. When you think about it, this man composed numerous film scores for like Pawnbroker, In the Heat of the Night, Italian Job, The Color Purple. When you think about the fact of it is that, in 1953 and 59, that's when he started his career at the age of 20.
Oh.
He was a jazz band leader for Lionel Hampton for a European tour of the Hampton Orchestra. And then when you realize that he actually did, he worked for Frank Sinatra in 1958.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And these are icons. And it kept on going. And then when you think about the Wiz, when you think about the movies that he and the people that he worked with in Hollywood, and then you think about he did the Oscars at one point. You know what I'm saying? With the studio, he helped Will Smith out. He helped Michael Jackson out. I mean, he helped Black America out, and it was always about Black excellence. He
Right.
helped so many people. He was a when you think of all the people he took the time to help out and help their careers.
Yes.
You don't see that. This is, what you guys were talking about is you don't see that anymore. People just helping you out because you deserve it. Not that you can repay them back. We live in such a transactional world.
Yes, we do.
Everything's if you could do something for me, I'll do something for you. You don't see people do anything just because you don't deserve it, but you have a talent. I want to see where it goes. That kindness is leaving our earth right now.
Correct.
It is.
And the underlying thing is Quincy Jones realized that talent has no color.
Right.
Everybody has a talent.
That's what he demonstrated.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to come together.
He was a social activist in the 1960s with Martin when it wasn't popular. I mean, you guys grew up in that area. The moment you were on the black cause, you were labeled and sometimes ruined your career. And he didn't care. He was like doing the right thing. And I think that's you don't see that much anymore. You got people just whatever it is for the money, whatever it is to get along, whatever it is to go along with something, even if it's wrong. It kind of unfortunately today kind of reminds me of a lot of what Adolf Hitler did. People went along with Adolf Hitler because he had power. Not that he was right, and they just went along with it because it was convenient. Don't mess it up because you could be messed up. You could be killed. And after the war, then those people that were killed and horrified with the stuff that happened, they were considered heroes. But the people that went along with it,
it's a whole different age now. Where Quincy Jones, it was the world recognized talent. Now the world recognizes power.
Yeah.
The difference.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Power does not mean you have the talent.
It's just a lot of. I mean, he even worked with Ray Charles. When you think of Quincy Jones, he was a part of Black America growing up from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s, the 80s. I mean, I got to know about him through Thriller, the best album. I mean, think about it. This guy is on the best album of all time.
The thing of it, the other thought is too, at his age, he knew what segregation, racism, all of those horrible things that we had to, as Black people had to go through. But yet and still, he was able to bring himself to write that song, "We Are the World." And to be able to experience what he went through helps me to understand the song a little bit clearer.
Yeah. And so like I said, I wish that we had more people like Quincy Jones. He wasn't a perfect man, but
his contributions.
His contribution.
He made a great contribution.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I think we do have people like Quincy Jones, but they're not given the same opportunity that he had. Because, you look at Burt Bacharach, and one of his famous singers was Dionne Warwick. So, talent has no race to it. Everybody has a talent.
Yeah.
But everybody does not recognize people of color with talent.
Correct.
Or people of another color that have a talent. Like I know some people that like country and western, and they're not the same color as the country and western singer, but they like it.
And music
is good. It's good music.
music can bring a lot of people together. People try to use it to divide people
Mm-hmm.
and to separate people, but in the
Mm-hmm.
end, he understood the power of it, and he
Mm-hmm.
understood that it can make a difference for the positive if you let it. Because we have so much negative that's going around, so much greed running around, so much I
Yeah.
want to get paid running around, and yes, you do have to make money and everything like that, but at the end of the day, you know, what are you doing to try to do a positive? Like I said, he wasn't a perfect man, but the man did a lot of good, and the man will be missed. We give our condolences out to the family and to a lot of people that are missing it. I mean, I talked to my friend Bonnie DeShawn, and she met Quincy Jones, and she said, Todd, he was the nicest dude.
Mm.
You know, and I was just like, wow, because sometimes you meet the person or icon. It's not that experience that you normally get because it's in your head. And sometimes you don't want to meet someone to ruin that. Like, I want to keep them the way I see them.
Preconceived ideas.
Right. I met, I won't name them on the show, but I met some entertainers. I'm like, well, I wish I didn't do that situation.
That's right.
But and hopefully, when people meet us, they meet the best version of us. Hope we can portray the best version at all times as Christians. We're not perfect at it. But hopefully we can. But any last thoughts about Quincy Jones before we close?
Yeah, you said a key word, nice. It doesn't cost anything just to be nicest.
Mm-hmm.
But nice has a great reward.
Yeah.
People remember you as a nice person, or they can remember you as a bad person. So I would like to be remembered as a nice person.
Yeah. And so any other thoughts before we close tonight? Like I said, there's one thing that I remember him saying. He learned at 80 years old. Don't hold a grudge and stop hating.
That's right.
People going to, he said he had to learn it at 80 years old or 85, one of those times. But I know it's in his 80s. He learned, don't hold a grudge, people.
Right.
It just poisons you and kills you, and frankly, it doesn't do anything for you. It does more poison to you than anything else. So for all you haters out there that hate people just because you want to hate, you know what? It's just destroying your life, making you a miserable person.
Yes.
Always upsetting you when someone comes in the room. I've been there, done that. I've had problems with it. So I'm glad, hopefully we overcome those things. Hopefully today you'll call your daughter, or you call your son, or you call a family member that you have a grudge with, or colleague, and say, let's just squash it and move on. And you move on. If they don't want to move on, that's on them, but try to move on from it. So if nothing else today, folks, let's just be kind and just try to love somebody, even if they're unlovable, just to pass, because, we got a lot of hate in the world today.
Yeah.
And be quick to forgive.
Yeah.
Be quick to forgive. Even though the person doesn't ask for forgiveness, forgive them for what they've done, even though they may not know what they've done. Because hatred destroys you.
Yeah. So we're just going to leave it at that, Dad. Till next time, we'll see you on Mom and Dad Talk.
Give love.